How's it going, folks? So, I want to discuss the proposed rule change about braced pistols that's been sent to the White House from the ATF. I can't see the White House doing anything but approving on this. Unfortunately, it's really bad news. However, with this being said, I'm hoping the Republicans take full advantage of this here, everything the ATF has put out, and use this to go after the NFA in general. For those of you who don't know what brace pistols are, they're basically these things right here. This is considered a pistol. This thing on the back is a stabilizing brace, and the design for it, the intent originally for it when it was first designed, and still is actually, was for people, and mainly with disabilities in mind, to have a brace that they can put around their arm. Although more than just disabled people can do this. Obviously, I'm doing it right now. Can put the brace around their arm and fire their AR pistol, Strybog pistol, or any other sizable pistol one-handed. Now, what the ATF has done over the years is claim that, well, hold on a second here. These, after we've approved off of them over 10 years ago now, we want to change our mind because we've noticed that some people have been taking these brace pistols and instead of using them, as I previously showed, they're using them like this. And that makes them function no different than an SBR. Well, that part is true. However, there's a few things I want to say on this. And all of them on their own is reason enough to at least remove should say, SBRs from the NFA list. However, the first one is going to be, yes, people improvise with their tools all the time. It's no different than firearms. Screwdrivers, a common example. How many times have people used a flathead screwdriver as a pry or for something other than screwing a flathead screw into wherever it needed to be screwed into? Quite a bunch of people, actually. Yeah, people don't always use the tool for the designer's intended purpose, or for that specific purpose the designer and manufacturer intended. Welcome to the real world. Does that mean now that we put specific restrictions on screws and screwdrivers because people are not using them for their intended purpose? Moreover, this is a big question I got. Well, I already know the answer to it, but everyone else should be asking the ATF. What makes doing this with a pistol more dangerous than doing the same thing with an NFA Title I rifle? And the answer is nothing. Nothing at all. Now, yes, it is an NFA workaround that a lot of people are using these braces as. That's no different. I mean, it is awful nice, for somebody who, say, wants to take an impromptu trip to the neighboring state to visit their family, to be able to not have to ask the ATF's permission to carry a truck gun or a car gun with them before they go. if this was an actual SBR, registered SBR, every time you cross state lines, you have to get prior approval, even temporarily, to take it across state lines if it was an SBR. Now, this is not. It falls under the category of pistol, so you just have to follow the laws in every state you pass through. What the ATF has claimed is that since people are doing this, in a sense, using these as SBRs, and they can only cite 2 crimes that these brace pistols have been used in, what they're basically doing is they are making an admission that the restrictions on SBRs are not actually stopping crime, and all they're doing is infringing on the rights of basically law-abiding gun owners. Now, it's not like many of these people at the ATF actually care about that. Many of these people at the ATF are actually just looking for excuses to further restrict people from owning firearms. Kind of comes with the nature of a government bureaucrat. I know this is kind of hard to believe when you tell most people that, yeah, these people would go into government. Many of them are only doing so just for power. And just because they're the type of assholes who get a kick out of telling other people what to do. And it's not about crime. I mean, if this was about saving lives or stopping crime, then, per se, now please do tell, why did the Biden administration just recently release the most notorious arms tracker on the face of the planet? You know, this guy, by the way, trafficked just more than semi-automatic firearms. I mean, this person's trafficked automatic firearms. This person's trafficked explosives. This person has trafficked stuff like APCs. To despotic warlords, to criminal organizations. So clearly, I mean, stopping actual criminals is not on the administration's to-do list. And even several gun controllers have come out to put their foot in their mouth to say that they, that Biden releasing an arms trafficker really isn't a big deal. Sheila Jackson Lee herself. By the way, if you don't know who Sheila Jackson Lee is, she's one of the biggest loudmouths for gun control in Congress. But she herself acted like it wasn't such a big deal that Victor Bout got released. AKA the Merchant of Death got released. Her explanation was, while his weapons may have killed people, he didn't himself. I wish Sheila Jackson Lee would show the same courtesy to fucking American gun owners and American gun manufacturers. I mean, if she'd do that, she'd have to stop supporting a lot of these gun laws she's trying to push, but I digress. But this is our problem with these people. Right here, they'll release one of the most notorious arms traffickers on the face of the planet, but then tell you that your AR-15 that you never used to harm anybody is a problem. They'll act like these FFLs who are engaged in lawful commerce with people, the vast majority of them never use their firearm in any sort of crime whatsoever, that they're the problem because that one asshole misused their firearms. Therefore, that American-based FFL, who's been lawfully selling firearms to predominantly law-abiding citizens, is somehow just as guilty of the deaths of the children in, say, Sandy Hook as the person who pulled the trigger themselves. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we should not be buying this anymore. Furthermore, we should be taking the stuff that the ATF has used to push this new rule and use it against them. We should be using this stuff that the ATF themselves have admitted to demand a repeal of, at bare minimum, SBRs from the NFA list, and that's if we don't go for the full repeal of the NFA, which honestly, we should. The NFA should have never been law in this country. It's unconstitutional from the day it was passed. It was unconstitutional from the day it was proposed. And it's done nothing to save anybody's life. So, that's all I have on this particular topic for now. I could go off on an even longer tangent, but I'm not. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you have the comment section below. As always, I'm as big a believer in the First Amendment as I am in the Second Amendment. Thank you all for watching. Y'all take it easy out there and have a great day.